Okay, and welcome everyone to the 2021 last lecture event. My name is Jason Schilling and I'll be the MC for today's event. Before I share a little bit about my journey as a U of L alumnus and teacher, I would like to welcome Yvonne Tiger to share the University of Lethbridge territorial acknowledgement. Yvonne?
Thank you. Okay, and welcome to the University of Lethbridge. Our university's Blackfoot name is Iniskum, meaning sacred buffalo stone. The University of Lethbridge acknowledges and deeply appreciates the Siksikaitsitapi people's connection to their territory. We, as people living and benefiting from the Blackfoot Confederacy territory, honor the traditions of people who have cared for this land since time immemorial. We recognize the diverse population of Aboriginal peoples who attend the University of Lethbridge and the contributions these Aboriginal peoples have made in shaping and strengthening the university community in the past, present, and in the future.
Thanks, Yvonne. And before we get started, I just want to take a moment to introduce myself and share a little bit about my journey. And the organizer said I could have 3 hours to do this. And so I'm not sure. Well, that's not true. I made that part up. I only have a couple of moments. So my name is Jason Schilling, and I am a graduate of the University of Lethbridge from 1994, as it can see in the slide up there. I grew up in rural Alberta and always believed that public education was really important. My parents always instilled into my sister and I the importance of school and going to school, and they were really one of the bigger influences of me of actually going to university. And so I started at university at the U of L way back in 1989 as a marketing major of all things. And I think it's the benefit of going to a liberal arts university that let me have the exposure to a variety of different experiences and different courses and different ways of thinking and seeing things. And that pushed me into exploring other options that I thought maybe, this is what I want it to be as I grow up, if you will, to where I ended up. And so I ended up taking some drama courses, and I met a professor there who was a really good influence on me and the work that I was doing, and suggested I just do some plays, and then I just moved that into teaching, because I've always admired teachers and the work that they do. And early in my younger life, I really admired my junior high language arts and drama teacher, and lo and behold, after I graduated from the U of L with a Bachelor of Fine Arts and a Bachelor of Education in Drama, I became an English and drama teacher, and that's what I've been doing over the course of my career. And I taught mostly at Kate Andrews High School in Coaldale, which is just outside of Lethbridge. I was there for 17 years before I moved into my position as the Alberta Teachers Association president, which is a position I've held since 2019. In my university days, I was involved in our student local, the Education Undergraduate Society, and it was an interesting thing to do, because I got to meet other student teachers from across the province. But working through the Alberta Teachers Association in that role, I actually got to work with my high school English teacher who worked for the association at that point. And really, since my graduation, I've been working primarily in small towns, and it's been great, because to me, teaching as a career has been a pure joy. It is a job and work that I love to do. I love working with students, even on the bad days and the hard days and things like that. But it's one of those things that, they say if you find a job that you love, you never feel like you spend a day working. And even though there's long days, definitely teaching is one of the things that is important to me. And because it's important to me and I value education, my involvement within the association became really important as well, because the ATA is a professional organization, an association that in legislation is to promote and advance public education, provide support for teachers in their professional development needs, their first year teaching, and throughout their career. And so it was important for me to get involved in the association and to give back to my profession as much as I felt the profession was giving back to me. Partly also because teaching is such a joy to me, I always think that students come first, and that we need to work to make sure that we put everything in place to make sure that our students in this province have everything that they need in order to succeed. And public education is a major factor in that. And it is a major factor in society in Alberta. Everybody should have access to public education. Everybody should be well served by public education, including a curriculum that is forward thinking and modern. And it's important that we make sure that what we're teaching our students about the aspects of society is important as well. I often get asked, why become the president of the Alberta Teachers Association, and even why become the president of the Alberta Teachers Association recently. And I often search through my office here for the how to handle a pandemic handbook, and it's not around. And the pandemic has definitely changed everything in the way that we do. But really to think about why do the work that I do now? If teaching is such a joy, why leave your classroom to do this work? And it's because of the students and the people that I work with on a day-to-day basis that I value this work that I do. I keep mementos around my office of my students and the staff that I worked with. I'm young enough that when I'm done this gig, I'll probably go back to teaching. And so I hope to be back in the classroom again at some point. But it's important to stand up for those who don't necessarily have a voice to stand up for themselves. And that's the role that I see in myself as president of the ATA and my colleagues who serve with me on Provincial Executive Council. That's the work that we do, and it's the work that teachers do. And we need to make sure that teachers are supported in the work so that they can in turn support their students. And it really boils down to just one sort of simple aspect for me. I honestly believe that we fight for what we value and what we believe in. And I value public education. I believe in it. It has served me well. And when I talk about public education, I mean kindergarten through to post-secondary as well. I've having been a student at the University of Lethbridge for my undergrad degrees, and then at the University of Alberta. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that here. I did my master's there, but public education has served me well in my life, and it's changed my life for the better. And I think that every student in this province should have the same opportunity. And I think the pandemic this last year has really highlighted a lot of the inequities that we see within our system. And so it's highlighted issues of poverty, of income security, of we've seen, efforts and movements for anti-racism and anti-oppression, and we need to move forward on a lot of these things. And we need to make sure that a lot of this and the learning that we have and that we need to do as a society comes through education. So one of my great honors, I think, over the last little bit here too, is that in 2019, I was inducted into the University of Lethbridge's Alumni Honor Society. And that was a great honor. It was very humbling because I've always looked back on my career as I'm just telling kids where commas go. But as you work in schools and you become in other jobs as well, those relationships that you have with your students really comes back. And when this honor came about, I had some students, it was on Facebook. So of course they connect you through Facebook and say, wow, this is great, fantastic. You really deserve this because you changed my life. And it was amazing to hear those sort of stories come back from former students. And it was pretty cool to hear because, not everybody is so agreeable and enjoyable when you're in high school. And to have students come back and say that you made an influence and an impact on my life. And I appreciate everything that you do. I always snicker at the students who come back and go, I kind of wish I listened a little bit more to you when you talked to us about writing though. And then they'll still ask me questions about writing, even though they might've been out of school for 10 years. So it's been a great privilege to be part of the Lethbridge's, the U of L's Honor Society, the Alumni Honor Society. And the U of L has been a place where is great. It's a big place in my heart. I always say to my friends that it's really where I found my legs, and it's where I became started that journey of the person of who I am today as I continue on with that journey as well. And it's also a great honor for me to be asked to be the chair and the MC or the host, or however you want to call this today, for this last lecture series by the University of Lethbridge and through the Alumni Society. And so I appreciate that, especially in a year like no other. I think everything about a year ago that we thought would be temporary in our lives has really become something that is a little bit more permanent. And as we all work through that, I want to wish you, as I wrap up my comments here, that's my cue to Yvonne, that I'm going to be moving to you in just a couple of moments, that this, to me, not everybody is affected by the pandemic, and we all have our own ways of dealing with that. And so I just encourage you to make sure that you're reaching out to those around you, that you are being safe and that you're being heard and taken care of. And I wish you good health as we go through this journey of the pandemic together. And I will move on now to our speaker, because I don't think everybody came here to listen to me talk today. So I will move on with that. So as a proud member of the alumni family, I'm thrilled to be here today. And I especially want to welcome our soon to be 2021 graduates. We're so excited to welcome you to the alumni family. To our current students who happen to be our future alumni, we can't wait for you to join our community as well. As we know, things have been different this last year, but has allowed us to reimagine how this event would occur. Shifting the last lecture 2020 and now the 2021 series to an online model gives us the opportunity to bring these amazing lectures to more than just Lethbridge-based student audiences. Today, we welcome not only the graduating class of 2021, but also the current and incoming students, faculty, staff, alumni worldwide, and community members to take part of this exceptional event. The last lecture has been an annual event held at the University of Lethbridge since 2008 and is modeled after the world-renowned speech given in 2007 by Randy Pausch, a computer science professor at Carnegie Mellon University. Pausch had been diagnosed with terminal cancer and was told that he had months left to live. He delivered his last lecture about achieving his childhood dreams and provided insights on seizing the moment and taking advantage of all the time we have on this earth. Today, we're pleased to present the last lecture 2021 panel, including some of the U of Lethbridge's greatest minds. This panel will share wisdom and life lessons that they have learned through their own journeys. And before I introduce each speaker, I was asked to go through a couple of housekeeping items. Each presentation will be about 15 to 20 minutes, with the remaining time saved for a question and answer period. If you'd like to ask the presenter a question, please go ahead and use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Please be sure to provide your first and last name before your question. Then I will go through these questions and facilitate the discussion with the speaker. If for some reason your question was not answered, we will be giving the unanswered questions to the presenters, who will post the answers to the Facebook event page. Alternatively, you are more than welcome to contact the speaker directly after the presentation to ask your question.